Marie Johnson. I was once told that the only way I would ever be reunited with my family would be as a corpse. But by the grace of God and the compassion of President Donald John Trump, I stand before you tonight and I assure you, I'm not a ghost. I am alive. I am well.
Peace and blessings, beautiful souls, magnificent beings. If you're not aware of this lady's story, then allow me to explain it. Alice Johnson. She was sentenced to life in prison as a first time nonviolent drug offender and without the possibility of parole. I think she served around 10 to 15 years. Obama had the chance to pardon her. She commissioned him 3 times to have her sentence commuted and pardoned, and he did nothing. Now, this is a mother, a woman who had no prior history of drugs, a woman who did not even really participate in the selling of drugs beyond facilitating the meeting of 2 people via a phone. But yet she got life sentence, and she came before the first black president. He did nothing. She come before Trump, the one that you all say is the biggest racist, who is Hitler, who hates black people. She came before Trump. He commuted her sentence. Then in 2020, he pardoned her. And now in 2024, 2025, she is the pardon czar for him and his administration, bringing forth the finding out the situation of prisoners who she feel that were wrongly convicted or were overly sentenced, and will bring that forth to the president and allow his team to consider what should be done. Again, Obama had the chance. 3 times she said that she commissioned him, and 3 times nothing. One time she commissioned with the help of Kim Kardashian, Donald Trump. He saw the injustice. He did what he was supposed to do. This doesn't make him a good man, a bad man. He did the right thing. And what racist would free a black woman who had been convicted of a crime? What super racist individual who hates black people, who is said to be Hitler, although he has killed not one Jew, very disrespectful of any individual to blame an individual and claim that an individual is something that he obviously is not. And no, I'm not a Republican. And no, I'm not a diehard Trump supporter. I am a supporter of the policies that he has pushed forward, and I am a supporter of doing what is right. So allow her to continue.
And most importantly, I am free. In 1996, I began serving time in prison, life plus 25 years. I had never been in trouble. I was a first time nonviolent offender. What I did was wrong. I made decisions that I regret. Some say, you do the crime, you do the time. However, that time should be fair and just. We've all made mistakes. None of us want to be defined forever based on our worst decision. While in prison, I became a playwright, a mentor, a certified hospice volunteer, an ordained minister, and received the Special Olympics Event Coordinator of the Year award for my work with disabled women. Because the only thing worse than unjustly imprisoning my body is trying to imprison my mind. My transformation was described as extraordinary. Truth is, there are thousands of people just like me who deserve the opportunity to come home. I never stopped fighting for my freedom.
And that's the key to any success. You can never give up. You and I, any individual on the planet, if you believe in what you believe in, and if you believe in yourself, in spite of the conditions that you may find yourself in, you continue to fight. You continue to battle yourself. You continue to develop the skills that are necessary in order to bring about a different reality. And we all are interdependent to a certain degree, meaning no individual has all the answers and has all the solutions to any specific problem. And this goes to show that she kept her faith in herself. She's religious as well. I am not. But she kept her faith in herself and her faith in that God that she say represents her. So that is a powerful thing to be. Although I am not religious, those who truly believe in a higher power within their specific religion, whether it's real or whether it's imaginary, they tend to do extraordinary things. They tend to transform their lives. And that is a good thing in and of itself. And I submit that you do not have to believe in a religion in order to transform your life. This doesn't mean that I don't understand that there is a higher intelligence that is the source of all things that exist. So I'm not one of those individuals that believe I created myself. I just don't do the religion aspect, which is indeed man made. But again, the point is this: if he is as racist as the Jasmine Crockett's, the AOC's, and everybody on the left says he is, why would he do something like this? Why would he push forth the First Step Act that released not only black prisoners, white prisoners who were nonviolent prisoners who had got extremely long sentences, in part due to Joe Biden's and Bill Clinton's 1994 crime bill? These things cannot go unacknowledged, meaning we must acknowledge the fact that it seems very contradictive of an individual to be a racist and then do things to help black people, such as this type of thing. And if he was such a racist, how and why would he back Jesse Jackson's presidential run back in the 1980s, financing much of it? Why would he engage in flying Nelson Mandela over to the United States when the U.S. government and no one else would do it after his release? Why would he house Jennifer Hudson in his hotels when her family had been slaughtered? Racist individuals do not perform these acts in order to try to convince you that they're not racist. This doesn't mean that he or any other human being doesn't have racial bias. There is a difference between being a racist and having a preference for your race. That doesn't make you racist. That just makes you in alignment with that reality upon which you were born. So again, we must come to these understandings and stop allowing individuals to shape our mindset, especially these liberal left politicians, especially the black politicians. Unfortunately, they push forth narratives that are detrimental to the growth of the collective. And you see that in the results. The black community as a whole, and especially those who are living in the impoverished inner cities, are worse off now than their parents and grandparents were in the 1960s, freshly coming out the, especially from the South, coming out of the brutality of the Jim Crow era. Allow her to continue.
My Christian faith and the prayers of so many kept hope alive. When President Trump heard about me, about the injustice of my story, he saw me as a person. He had compassion and he acted. Free in body thanks to President Trump, but free in mind thanks to the Almighty God. I couldn't believe it. I always remembered that God knew my name, even in my darkest hour, but I never thought a president would. When I was released on June 6, 2018, I ran across that road. Stop fighting for them, and I haven't. I'm using my voice to tell their stories, and I pray that my face reminds you of those forgotten faces. 6 months after President Trump granted me a second chance, he signed the First Step Act into law. It was real justice reform, and it brought joy. I hollered, hallelujah. My faith in justice and mercy was rewarded. Imagine getting to hug your loved ones again and to think this first.
This is a powerful story. I know exactly how she feels when she says she ran across that parking lot when she was set free, because I did time as well. And there's no greater experience. Well, there are not many experiences that will measure up to being released from prison if unfortunately you have been put in prison for any circumstance. I understand exactly what she's saying and how she's feeling. Let's allow her to continue.
First step meant so much to so many. I can't wait because we're just getting started. The nearly 22 years I spent in prison were not wasted. God had a purpose and a plan for my life. I was not
22 years in prison, and Obama had a chance, and he was in office for 8 of those years. Knowing her story, knowing the injustice that was handed down to her by the corrupt injustice system in this case, and he still refused. But he's your black president. The fact of the matter is, I understand why he doesn't feel connected, and he never has. What he has used is his black appearance as a motivator to push you to vote for him and other Democrats. He is a symbol. He had no substance when it came to black causes. Because again, you seem to take any individual that has your skin color, I'm talking about black people, as a representative of you. When in fact, he is not a descendant of slave. He has no slave blood running through his veins. So he's really not that connected to you. And this is why, or your experience historically. And this is one of the reasons why it was so easy for him to dismiss you and you still champion him as a champion of black people. Get out of here with that foolishness.
delayed or denied. I was destined for such a time as this. I pray that you will not just hear this message, but that you will be inspired by my story and your compassion will lead you to take action for those who are forgotten.
Again, this is a powerful story, and this proves to me that although I may not agree with a lot that Donald Trump has done, I don't agree with a lot with what I've done. And I don't believe in any one individual being a leader. These individuals are representatives of us, meaning that they are put in office to carry out the will of the majority of the people. And I feel as if Donald Trump is attempting to do that with the mandate, with his victory. Now let's talk a little bit about AOC. Again, a beautiful young lady who I think may mean well, but she's totally the off. She's not in alignment with what will definitely bring about a change in the inner city communities that she represents. It is said that the crime rate since she's been in office has up 70% within her district. And I don't have that video on me, but it is out there where representatives in her district speaks about the crime surge within the district. She continues to talk about the oligarchy. She continues to talk and try to push forth a democratic socialist ideology, which can and will never work in any instance because it actually teaches people not to pursue being all they can be because everyone would have a similar and equal outcome no matter what they're doing. And this is not a situation, a governing technique that has worked in the past, and it definitely will not work in the future in any society that truly wants to continue to advance as the leading nation in the world, leading in technology, leading in creativity. You put a damper on creativity, a lid on creativity when you tell an individual, no matter how creative you are, your outcome is going to be the same as the individual who is the least creative and the least willingness to do and develop their personal skills. This is not the way that human life is and will continue to evolve and grow into the greatness that you and I can reach. We cannot reach that with limits on our potential and the constant trying to give individual handouts. Individuals may need hand ups. Handouts are non-negotiable. And beyond that, any individual who is not married and who has not and who intentionally decided not to engage in the reproduction of life cannot govern life. They are not qualified. They have not went through the rigors of marriage. They have not went through the most important aspect of being, which is being a parent and the sacrifice that takes. Now let's pull up ghetto Jasmine Crockett. Unfortunately, beautiful black woman, but ghetto as they come. But she's really not ghetto. She has taken on the mantle of ghettoism when in fact she wasn't raised in that way. She was raised in a privileged environment. She was raised and went to private schools, but yet she has embraced the ghettoism because she understands how to play the game for the ignorance amongst the individuals in the inner city. If they think that you identify with them by lowering yourself to their standards, you're likely to get their vote, even though that condition will remain the same because you have no idea of how to bring about change, and your goal was not to bring about change. Most of these individuals who enter into Congress, they become wealthy, while their districts become even poor and more desolate. So again, when it comes to understanding what racism is and what a racist is, yes, racism is this. Yes, this country for 250 years, the founding fathers, they were indeed racist. And they put into play and codified a racist laws in order to subjugate blacks. There's no doubt about it. You cannot make an individual your slave because of the color of their skin and not be racist. So again, those founding fathers, they may have been great for the white man and great for and they established a great constitution, but it wasn't for the benefit of Black people because they were racist in and of their essence. But this doesn't take away from the greatness, but it also doesn't minimize the evil of them. Two things can be true at one time. In the case of Donald Trump, I don't see him as being a racist. He may have racial bias, which most of us have racial bias, but in outright racist that these individuals want to continue to push out, they have not proven it. But you buy it because they continue to push it. And if you push the lie or the mistruth long enough and loud enough, then it becomes the actual truth for those who take and receive that lie and that misinformation. And therefore, this is why they continue to do what they do. Again, if you like the video, please share and comment. Have a beautiful day. Peace.